It's time for us to review the stories captured in the newspapers. This is the news review segment on the AM show. And my guests are in studio. I have Haruna Mohammed. He's Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. And we also have Wanda Madilo. He's from the NDC Communications Directorate, and they join me in studio this morning. Gentlemen, welcome aboard the news review segment. You're both new. You're not new, so you know that we give our guests about 2 minutes to walk us through any topical issue they want to reflect on. And Haruna, I haven't seen you in a bit, so I'll start with you.
Last week you were also.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I must have forgotten that. What's on your mind?
For me,
yeah.
First I would say good morning to your cherished viewers, yourself, and then Wanda, and whoever is watching us from home. I believe that we are currently sitting on a certain government which does not provide us any direction. A lot of issues that have come up are basically on political persecution, and we need to build a democracy. I believe that our focus should be on building Ghana rather than prosecuting people without merit. If they want to prosecute, I believe that the courts are open. We should stop the media persecution and go to the courtroom. Okay,
so you believe we are sitting on a settings government. Wanda Madilo, are you going to piggyback from there, or you have a different reflection for us?
A different impression altogether, and he knows that very well.
Okay.
First of all, we want to celebrate our founder, His Excellency, may his soul rest in peace, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. He stood for some values, some of which values we are espousing today. Probity, accountability is one of the key cardinal principles that the NDC won't do away with. And we stand very firm on that. So if that comes in the wake of prosecutions, giving account for your service in office, we so much love it, and we want to encourage the NPP to keep thinking along those lines, because this is exactly what will happen. Nobody is persecuting anybody. If you have any case, go to court and answer your case. Nobody has hounded anybody. They've done worse in the past. We won't go along that line. But we do believe that as a party like the NDC, founded on the principles of probity and accountability, these are things Ghanaians need to know and must hear.
Okay. I just want to probe a little further, Haruna. When you say settings government, what exactly do you mean?
A government that does not believe in itself. A government
does not believe in itself?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a president who was running when he was asked, are you the hope for the people of Ghana? He said he didn't believe he was the hope.
Is that not just him being modest?
Oh, it's not about being modest. You see, a government that tells you that we have a very large follow in terms of government appointees, and that it is bringing so much expenditure on the people of Ghana. And you say you are coming with a very less government. You come with it. That large government was spending around 326 million Ghana cedis for an annual budget for the government office of the government machinery. You come in, you are spending 2.7 billion. This is not a settings government. 2.7 billion. Put 326 million into 2.7 billion. That means that Akufo-Addo would have used it for 2-3 years. Okay. One budget for 1 year. So if not a settings government, a government that tells you that gives you a navigator that is going left, then by the time you realize it's going right.
All right.
It certainly is not a government.
All right. I just wanted to understand what you mean.
I'm very happy that my brother is talking about probity and accountability. I believe that President Rawlings is somebody that you can run away from, because he's the person that has used his own blood to form the NDC. If he's going to be celebrated, I think that he should be celebrated with genuineness, because in the past, members who are serving in government, they called him a back and dog. He himself have said about the current president that he doesn't believe in his credentials in terms of probity and accountability, that he has failed that test. So today, we are going to celebrate him. We should celebrate him with genuineness. And that is what, because he's a hero. He's the only founder, because we in the NPP, we don't have a founder. We have founders, or we have foundation members. He's the only founder of the NDC, and I believe that he should be celebrated creditably.
All right. So, gentlemen, let's get into the newspapers. I want to start with you. I have only one paper here. So, Wanda, Perhaps let's start with your papers.
I think I need to correct an impression. Sometimes we should stop talking without figures. In 2024, the total allocations to the Office of Government Machinery was 2.1 billion. Check it out. That was he should look at his own budget. Why are you trying to pretend about this?
Wonder, I am very confident in this road.
And in this current, dispensation, we budgeted 2.7 billion. What is all this? Where do we get all this from? Where do we get all these figures to excite ourselves?
What figure did you give in the beginning?
2.7 for Office of Government Machinery.
Yes, Office of Government Machinery.
And Akufo-Addo, Office of Government Machinery alone was 326. Check it.
You won't understand the operations of government.
Why would I understand? I've worked for public service for 20 years. You're telling me.
It's actually quite early.
Yes.
It's just the second hour into the AM show. Let's get into the papers. I'm sure the stories in there will give us plenty room to compare what we're doing.
Budget.
Yes,
get 2024 budget.
I have it here.
Get 2025 budget. No, not you. She's an independent person. Go to the appendices and check government machinery.
Are you serious?
Check Akufo-Addo and check.
Haruna, can you guys wake up quickly?
Not wake up.
Wanda and Haruna.
Please. You cannot.
Gentlemen.
You cannot
wake up.
Okay, since I'll start then.
6 months in office.
It's very early.
The government 6 months in office. 6 months in office. We have not even spent that money yet. This is allocation. And then you have been misbehaving over this matter. Are you serious?
Look, and besides,
how do we compare this?
Our audience can't even follow the arguments you're putting.
Besides, that 2.7 billion is even from March thereabouts.
Can we make progress?
3 months is over.
But they are in shock.
The
parties
our audience tuned in this morning to listen to you. So let's them listen to you. Since you're not ready, I'll start with the Daily Graphic. These are the stories on the front page. On the flag bearer primary, NPP MPs must remain neutral. That is according to Minority Leader. And Che Mensa Bunsu, Arthur Kennedy shares views. That is, post your primaries in January 2026. They're asking you to be neutral. So let me just go through the stories on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Goil PLC posts 84.7 million Ghana cedis profit. Quash order to restore Ni Adamalache II, Ni Taki Chu, urges Supreme Court. Guaranteed Trust Bank changes logo, and GTech scrutinizes honorary doctorate titles. I want to start from here because it's been a very topical issue, the flag bearer race for the New Patriotic Party, and thankfully Haruna is here, can shed some more light on this. So the Minority Leader, Alexander Penyumakin, has advised members of the New Patriotic Party, the caucus in Parliament, to remain neutral to foster a sense of unity among the rank and file after the party's post-flag bearer elections on January 31st, 2026. And he said as members of Parliament, they were supposed to toe the middle ground, hold the party together, and not take sides openly. But I think that's what we're seeing now. We've heard about a little over 60 MPs who are rallying behind Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. We also heard that some MMDCs, I think the same number of former MMDCs who visited Kennedy Japan are the same people who yesterday met Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia at Alisa Hotel. So what do you make of this call from your Minority Leader, your leader in Parliament, and what we are seeing right now? How do you reconcile everything? But answer for me, is it the same people? Is it the same group of former MMDCs who met Kennedy Japan, who met Bawumia yesterday?
In actual fact, I have not participated in any of those meetings. And I can't verify whether they were the same people. But if there is former MMDCs, there should be one, because former is former, whether from 2000 up to date or from any other date. So since I am not, or I did not participate, I can't confirm whether they were the same people.
All right. So Alexander Penyumakin is saying that let's be neutral, or the members of Parliament should be neutral, but it doesn't look like that's what's happening right now.
Well, I haven't read or heard him. You've posted this particular headline to me, and I believe that as a leader, this is the manner in which he's going to speak. For me, I have said it time and again, that neutrality with a custom vote is always compromise. If you have a custom vote, you cannot be neutral. But if you are a leader and you are involved in the processes of conducting such elections, what you need to do is to be very fair. You have to be fair, all the procedures, all informations, all materials. That requires of every contestant, you must be fair and firm so that you would have free and fair elections. And that is why when you check the slogans of electoral commissions across the world, you would not hear the word neutral. You will hear free, fair. And that has been the holding mark of every leader. I will join the cause to call on all of them to exercise restraint and be minded that the party have a guiding principle in terms of how elections are conducted. Very soon, the party will issue a statement to open nominations, and at that point in time, people will be at the liberty to do political campaigning. We are not stopping anybody from having an ambition, but we are reminding them that it is too early in the days. Both sides, or all the sizes, is too early in the days. They need to respect the decisions of the party. And there will be some meetings between now and then, and if care is not taken, we will crack the whip.
What is the actual date for the opening of nominations?
That will be communicated after conference.
Okay. Are you making headway? I've listened to some members of your party say the reason behind, or the intention behind the early primaries is so you can unite the party behind one leader 2 clear years before we go to the polls in 2028. Now that you are saying you're going to be opening nominations, so many calls to be unified, you know, are you making headway in terms of reuniting the party the way we've seen it scattered all over the place? Case in point, thank you tour, so many things coming up.
Yes, you see, because we are running a political organization, you cannot run with one set of opinion. Many people, everybody, we have various sets of opinions from rank and file of the party. We are making a headway because the highest making decision body of the party, the second highest, which is clone with the power, has taken a decision. The decision was not taken in a vacuum. The decision was taken based on a fact-finding committee that was set up by National Council on the 2nd of January 2025, based on another consultative committee which was put together for constitutional amendment, which has also consulted all persons who are interested at the time of the formation for the conduct or to become flag bearer of the party has been consulted. We went to council, one motion was moved, and we all agreed to have our presidential primaries done early enough. Yes, several reasons has been given, and I believe that there are very cogent reasons that will be able to sustain the entire process. And, you know, if we're able to get this thing done, and all the stories that you are hearing about people going here, making declarations and doing, there would not be a contest of presidential elections again. And it will help to de-escalate the entire process. The rancor, the animosity, and all that will stop because there will be a leader, and also the rallying point for the party will be around the leader. Okay. To give the leader the opportunity to be able to put his ideas together, and also we'll be able to, we'll have about 3 years to be able to heal within the process. You cannot run away from that. Every political party cannot run such elections without passing through a healing process. Okay. It's just like when water runs through the forest. I believe that some of the trees will definitely come down, and that is how it works. It's a natural process, and I believe that it's working towards that.
Wanda, I want to get your thoughts on this as well. Apenyo Makin is saying he's using himself as an example. That is why he's not openly supporting any particular aspirant. He wants to keep good faith with all the aspirants, and he's urging his party members, especially the members of parliament, to remain neutral so they can hold the ground together.
I want to make 2 comments.
Yeah.
Number 1, the NPP as a party does not trust their majority leaders' position on the matter.
Do you have evidence to back this claim?
I would.
Haruna is here. He'll take you on.
I'll put it out.
Okay.
It's not a problem at all.
He's my friend.
Number 2, the grassroots of the party do not also trust their leadership in terms of this whole flag bearership issue. His boss, on January 24th, in Asempa Studios, made a very categorical point that they should give Bawumia another chance to contest the 2028 elections.
No.
Oh, it's there.
Please play it.
Asempa is public record. Check it out. I can give it to you.
You know,
now.
I don't do this.
What did he say then? No, then what did he say?
My boss has never, on any occasion.
Salam.
My boss has. Oh, this is Haruna. This is a headline. Play the tape.
Please,
did you hear him? Did you hear those words?
That's what I'm saying.
This is Joy FM.
My boss
okay, hold on.
is very professional.
Wonder, are you quoting him verbatim
Asempa
or you're
is not
paraphrasing?
Joy, it's
so perhaps if you're paraphrasing,
on your own portal.
Yeah, but I'm asking. But this is a headline you have read, and I'm asking.
You go ahead and do it yourself. I shouldn't even be done providing evidence.
I can't play this on air while we are having this conversation.
Let me make progress. I'm talking based on what I have seen on your own portal, and we are on the same platform. So if you have any dispute, you have. Organize it, or you have.
It's not the same. This is multimedia. This is a multimedia story, but we are on Joy.
That's fine. The back room will check for us.
Can we make
Go on. Yeah.
So, we have seen commentaries in the past from some of these leaders that suggest that they want Bawumia candidacy. No two ways about that. Even Afenyo Maki himself, in the last election, supported Kennedy Ohene Japan. Is that not the case? Now, you have a particular crop of leaders.
But you know, there's another angle you left out. Before this open declaration of support, before the polls even announced that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was, had more goodwill than some other aspirants, there was Sarah Adwoa-Safo, who made some allegations about how the NPP wanted to sacrifice Bawumia as the one who, is the reason why they lost the election.
I am getting there, so don't worry, I'm getting there.
I mean, once you're opening up the angle, let's add everything.
I'm getting there. Then you fast forward this whole discourse. You will observe that the current crop of executives were elected through their own processes of, first of all, polling stations, then they go to the constituency, and then they go to the regions, go to national, and then the new national executives, including their national council, takes a decision on when they should elect their flag bearer. I think that is fair amongst all of us, even the NDC. That's what we all do. The reason you do that is that you want the base, the grassroots, to be akin or to have some affinity towards what you are doing, participate in the process. We also use this as a tool to energize the base and to get your base ready for what is going to happen. Number 3, you want a public approval, that is a grassroots approval of your candidates. So you want to go through all that trend. Now, all of a sudden, we have a political party in the name of the NPP that actually commissioned a body to go and discuss how they lost the elections, what made them lose the elections and all that. And Professor Michael report, they claim nobody has the report, only they have the report. Suffice to say that they say that the report says early Congress. Did the report also say that they should reinvent the wheel? Because early Congress means nothing. It only means that you can fast-track the process. We have lost elections in 2016, and we had the Professor Botche committee doing his job. Even after Professor Botche's committee did his job, we still went through the process. So it is not a guarantee that because your committee, which was put together again by this same leadership, to go and find something out, the committee comes back, and then all of a sudden, the Professor Michael Kwe report says that you should reinvent the wheel, go contrary to your own constitution. They are now here to go to Congress in July.
For what I understand, they're not actually doing anything contrary to the Constitution. This is convention. The bottom-up approach is not... Haruna, does your Constitution say that you must necessarily elect... that what you're doing right now is wrong?
There's nothing in the Constitution.
Because we had this conversation,
Look, every election that happens on the validity of persons who are capable of running the election at that point in time.
So does the Constitution specifically say that? No, okay, then that's that.
And even the presidential election, presidential primaries is a stand-alone election from even the structure of the party.
Okay.
So you see, it's very easy to read the Constitution and just take out the letters and think that you're on a course. Now, how do I elect a flag bearer when I don't have those behind? What is the legitimacy of the current crop of executives, including, because their tenure expires within a period, 4 years expiration. So you are taking executives to Congress whose tenure have expired. That's what it means. Number 2, these are the same group of people who elected a leader that got some 39, 41% in the elections. You still want to go with this? And no doubt, we are not the only ones talking. Their own people are talking. Kennedy Japan has spoken, Jaku has spoken, and I'm sure many others will be speaking, in the light of it, including some members of the NPP. So if for nothing at all, listen to the voice of reason. Listen to the opinions of people. Listen to what is happening. Do you want to go along a line that, eventually you elect a leader again and you are dealing with this same factions and fractions within your party. That is why you take your time. We even did a healing tour. We even had to go, constituency by constituency and speak to people and get them to understand that, hey, listen, we know we failed. We know we haven't done well. But this is the way forward. How do we do it? Then we go through the process again. You can still do an early Congress by rushing through your process of electing your constituency, region, and national. There's nothing wrong. You can still do that within the same period.
But
why didn't this same recommendation say that fast track the process of electing your, background before the national elections?
They are saying that the center cannot hold. Things fall apart. Chinua Achebe. They need to unite the party behind a flag bearer.
No.
And while you went on a healing tour and the rest, that was your strategy, right? To regroup.
So their
strategy is to make sure the center holds before they can go to...
This is the same center that is about to produce the candidate who failed in the last election. The same center. If it is weak, disorganize it and let's form a new center. Because the center is obviously not the candidate. They've had a party in opposition for all this while. They've been running their affairs for all this while. It's only that their constitution says that when they have a sitting president, then he becomes the leader of the party. But if they don't have a sitting president, I don't think that is the case.
Okay.
So
that's your submission. Yeah.
When there's a sitting president, he's not the leader of the party.
Okay. But
if there's a flag bearer, he's not the leader of the party.
Okay.
Our constitution is clear. The leader of the party at any point in time is the national chairman. And that is why the Constitutional Review Committee has asked that it should be affirmed and mentioned specific. So it is not true.
Haruna, some believe that this strategy, let me add you one angle. Some believe that this strategy is so that you can keep the current executives in position. And if you go by the normal convention, there might be succession battles. They might not be able to come back into power.
Abuchi, first of all, what I want you to know is that he's mentioned about people's tenure of office has expired and you are going to use them. That is untrue. The polling station executives, their tenure of office will expire somewhere March.
National executives?
Yes, national executives will expire somewhere July 2026. Yes. Okay? So using the delegate list at a time of 31st January does not amount to using an expired tenure of office of members of the party who are eligible to elect. So please, you see, this is our matter. If you are not very conversant with it, if you are not very conversant with it...
Actually, that's a good point.
Yes,
he says that's their matter.
Yes,
you are not part of the new
If you are not very conversant, no, you can talk to it, but if you are not very conversant with it, so you don't...
No, you have a point. So, Wanda, he has a point. He says that these are internal matters. No, of course we have to discuss it. No, he's giving a caveat.
You should be very... Like, if you
haven't come to a point where you want to shut public opinion. No, you have gotten to about using. What are you talking about? Because we are not members of your party, we can't talk to it.
No, that's not what he said.
Listen, any violence in the NPP today, any chaos in the NPP today, ripples over to the country.
Of course.
And all the members of the NPP are members of this country, or citizens of this country.
Absolutely.
So if there's something that is a potential chaos,
let me get a word in.
And Ghanaians are pointing it out to you.
He said, if you are not, he gave a caveat. He didn't say that don't speak about it. He said, if you are not conversant.
What is there to be conversant with?
Their constitution, for example.
Is it the case that the current crop of executives were elected at a certain point in time and therefore produce the former leadership? Is it the case that by precedence, since they were formed in 1992 till today, the precedence has been that go according to from the bottom to the top? Is that the case? Is it the case that they have lost elections while in power before and never went to this kind of thing? Is it the case that the current crop of executives have produced a leader who failed in the last elections? Are these things that I think somebody will tell you that are not convincing?
Let me ask you this. Your party is in government. It's in government now. What they are doing, selecting or electing a flag bearer 2 clear years before election 2028, does it in any way distract your government, or does it cause any sort of distraction to your administration in any way?
It doesn't, because that's how Constitution says. It's 2 years. Okay. Within 2 years before elections, you can organize your party.
So be that as it may, all concerns raised, they have that right to do it however they please, because it could be their strategy to win back power.
Hold on,
and let's end it there.
See, we don't mind how the NPP organize themselves. But this is democracy. And people have a say. Yes. You asked me a question.
Okay.
I am talking about the NPP in what they are doing right now.
Okay.
At least I have the clear mind and the conscience to know that what is in their constitution is not what they are practicing.
All right.
That is why they claim that they are going to Congress on the conference on the 31st of July in order to ratify this decision. So this decision is alien to their constitution, and they know that for a fact.
Is that why you're going to ratify this decision?
It's a complete falsehood. That we are going to ratify. City, take the constitution.
Wonder person.
No, take the constitution.
Go ahead.
You see, Wonder, when I say that you can speak about NPP matters, but you must be seized with the right information.
Go ahead.
Because you see, when we sit
I'm
here,
listening.
when we
Just go
sit
ahead.
here, we don't speak to him, her. We don't speak to her. We are not speaking to the cameraman.
Yes.
We are speaking to the good people of Ghana.
Good.
There are people who are more intelligent than us sitting here. So we must provide them with the right breakfast. And that is why I am telling you. First, the constitution you are talking about never tells us that we should organize this election before this election. That is untrue. 2, conference has no power to vary this decision. Read Article 13.1. Sweetie, I want you to read it clear and see. It says shall. It is not about conference to come and ratify it. It's a decision.
What are you doing?
Actually, Dr. Kennedy had the same view.
What are you doing?
That he had the same view that the National Delegates Congress could actually nullify this decision.
It cannot. It cannot. I am telling you, read that. It says shall. Please. I've been there.
Well, it says the election of the party's presidential candidates
Yes.
shall be held not later than 24 months, that's 2 years, from the date of the national election. And the date and venue for the election shall be decided by the National Council.
Shall be by the National Council.
Provided, however, that the National Council may, on appropriate occasion, vary the date.
Yes.
So that's that. I want us to move on from this. So quickly, wrap up your thoughts on this for me, and then let's move on.
You see it clearly. It is only the National Council that can decide the date and venue for presidential primaries. It doesn't even go to conference. I'm the conference secretary as I sit here. I am the conference secretary. There is nowhere in the NPP constitution, nowhere, that you have to organize polling station before you get. The presidential primaries is a stand-alone election. It is not. Even if you go to Article 5 of the party's constitution, you would not see anywhere that the presidential candidate or presidential primaries is also part of the structures of the party. You see, if you are saying this and you want to be very accurate, you lost an election in 2016, which was a very historic loss until our loss in 2024. You went ahead.
I want to speak to the issue.
You went ahead to elect that person again as general secretary, came and elected the person again as national chairman, and then you came to win an election. And you are talking about people who have elected a weak or failed leader.
Let's hear. That's for you.
When you play too much with mischief, we have to cure it on this program. Now, their own constitution, Article 10, Article 10.2, it says that there shall be a national annual delegate conference, which shall be the supreme governing body of the party.
But who says
now listen, I'll go to number 3. Number 3 says that there shall be a national council which is subject to the decisions of the National Delegate Conference. What are you talking about?
Don't read that in isolation. Don't read that in isolation.
So the Delegate Conference takes preeminence over whatever National Council.
That particular provision in question.
Please.
That particular provision in question.
Hand it over.
My brother, please. This constitution, nobody. I am telling you, please, my brother. Even your party. Have you ever seen an NDC party constitution?
You know that.
Have you ever seen their constitution?
Do you know that they are saying that? Hold on a second. On strengthening our democracy, Yakosa has been making some statements. He says no one really knows how much a candidate spends. No one knows where the money is sourced. No one seems bound by any enforced laws to make all of this transparent. The opacity is the source of all evil in a Santa Claus democracy, for it becomes the surest corridor to money laundering and political pay-through, he said. And he's talking about strengthening our democracy and how we can make campaign financing transparent. There's another angle to our political conversation this morning. So let's move on from the NPP's flagbearership race and get here. Truthfully, we don't have clear laws that are enforced in terms of political campaign financing. And you are, getting ready to go into another election, although within your own party. How do you respond to these concerns about making campaign financing transparent? Is it a case that we don't have the laws or we just don't enforce them? Is it a case that there are some lacunae, there are some gaps in the ones that we already have? Where do you sit in all this?
Okay, thank you, Sweetie. With my point, with clarity, that's 13.1. Is a provision that is entrenched. That conference does not have the power to overturn that. It's an entrenched provision.
Where is the
it's a shall, it's not a may.
Oh, are you really?
So please.
Don't talk to me about constitutional provisions, please.
My brother, no. you are not an overlord of knowledge.
It's obvious.
My brother, you are not an overlord of knowledge.
Let's talk about political campaign financing.
On this program.
You are very lame on this constitution.
We can read. I
am telling you
that the higher decision-making body is the conference, not your national council.
Please. Who says the highest decision body is not conference? I am telling you on this decision.
Can we be respectful to our audience this morning, gentlemen? When we do this, they don't get the best out of us.
In every constitution, there are checks and balances.
Wonder.
The constitution envisages that there will be a day that council may take a decision that may not be in consonance with the constitution, and therefore there is a check and balance. And the check and balance is that there's a higher body that can review that decision. What is it talking to us about?
On this decision, it is not reviewable by anybody.
Not to go and
conference is the highest.
Talk to your lawyer.
So they're saying that
you are not correct on that.
So
please.
Gentlemen, you said you are friends. Okay, I'll come back to you.
Understand.
So let me tell you about what Yaukosa has been saying. And in fact,
I'm disappointed. Please take
your microphones are off. So he says that corporate executive and governance thinker Yaukosa has called for urgent reform of political campaign financing to safeguard the country's democracy from elite capture and systemic corruption. Can we turn on your mics now? Let's be respectful. Wonder, let me do this. Hold on a second. So Wonder, he is Deputy National Secretary. Hold on. Listen to me.
You should read from
Listen to me.
He has in that constitution that says that the decision of
it's like both of you are refusing to listen to the referee.
Particular decision
you will not.
Is not overturnable by anybody. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. My brother, please.
Wonder.
Well, I'll allow him to.
Do you want us to continue this?
Don't. Ignorance. You continue. You go ahead.
You have to.
You do realize that our audience are the judge of whatever we are talking about here, right?
I will allow him to deceive Ghanaians.
Okay.
It's open.
Okay. So you have made your point. Our discerning audience have heard you.
So you should go ahead.
Good.
Go ahead.
Wonder. Haruna, our discerning audience have heard you as well. So can we just continue this conversation?
Ignorant on the constitution.
Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to move away from the politics and let's do some human interest stories. I'll come back to the politics. They're saying there's sufficient fuel to last beyond 2 months. Unfortunately, this also tips into politics, but let's discuss it. So there is sufficient fuel to last beyond 2 months. That is the NPA CEO assuring the country. And the country has sufficient fuel reserves to last beyond 2 months, as the acting CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, Godwin Eduji Tamaklo. And he said currently there were over 200 million litres of petrol and 150 million litres of diesel available. Quote, I can assure the good people of Ghana that we have enough stock to last us beyond 2 months. And with all efforts, we are confident that we will not have any problem with supply disruption at all. Of course, this is coming on the back of the Israel-Iran war and what we are seeing right now. Yesterday, the Iranians struck, some US base in Qatar, and some are saying that it was choreographed. In fact, I've also seen President Trump's tweet saying that they got it out of their system. It sounded like the Iranians informed them that they were going to strike or they were going to respond to that attack, and they did. But it appears we are kind of seeing the end of the violence of the war. I'm not sure, but because it concerns us, because we import refined fuel, because our petroleum industry is more import-driven than export, they are assuring us that there's no cause to be concerned. We have about more than 2 months stock left. Let's take your thoughts on this matter. Wanda, let me start with you.
Yeah, so...
does this assurance assure you?
Yeah. I am a lover of foreign news. So the whole of last night, I spent some time on CNN. As at midnight, price of Brent crude had dropped by some 8%. WTI crude also dropped by some 8% as well, selling at 67.4 and 70.28 per barrel. Many people thought that the Israel-Iraqi Iran conflict may escalate, but I think that the intervention of the U.S., howbeit a bit harsh, have brought some sanity. I'm told that there's also a peace deal already in place. Iran has accepted some, proposals. Israel has also accepted some proposals, and so that immediately, the crude oil market or the oil market is a very sensitive, speculative-based pricing environment. So we saw a slight edge the day before. By yesterday, when things had died down, it was fine. Donald Trump was not trying to say that they were informed or anything of the sort. What happened was that the Iran targeted, attack was on a U.S. base in Qatar. And per international law, you cannot abuse the sovereignty of another state, at least without their knowledge. And even though that property was not owned by Qatar, they needed to inform Qatar that we were going to launch some missiles over your space. And so they don't see it as an attack on the country, but an attack on, as it were, an entity that belongs to the US.
This is President Trump's tweet. And I'm quoting the part where he says, most importantly, they've gotten it out of their system. And he says, hold on, I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured. He said they gave them notice.
So I'm saying that Iran actually gave notice to Qatar. Qatar hosting the property of the U.S., which is the command of the U.S. So once the sovereignty has been informed, obviously U.S. has a representative and an ambassador who will be informed that, hey, Charlie, this is it. And so take it easy. But whatever it is, this is international diplomacy. And I think that I want to personally be grateful to God that this has come to an end very quickly, because it had all the symptoms of a third world war. It had all the symptoms of markets going haywire. And then when Iran actually threatened to close the Hormuz Canal, or
Strait of Hormuz,
I think that was a very difficult decision if it came to pass. And we would have seen prices skyrocket, because Iran supplies about 20% or so of the entire world consumption of crude and all that. So indeed, we are very excited, very happy that this has quickly, died off. I just pray that the parties within the space will be able to align quickly to the peace agreement and we can make progress. Lives have been lost. I know in excess of about 300 lives lost in Iran, some 30 or 40 or so lost in Israel and all that. And properties, several properties have been damaged and all that. I think this matter can come to an end quickly. On the issue of the MPA boss talking, it has to do with our reserves. Normally when these things happen, because of the shock, ships cannot move. And so you cannot get supply into your country, and that it creates shortage. And the shortage is the reason for which prices go up. What he's trying to say that in envisaging this, last week, you heard the president himself say that he has tasked the finance minister and the energy minister to work out modalities within which we can operate so that this doesn't have an impact. So based on that, quickly some orders were made, and we have strategic stock reserve. If the war should even last for the next 2 months, government is saying that we have enough stock to sustain the country, our power plants and all that. So it's a good welcome call, and we're excited.
I mean, even tied to this, the International Energy Agency also said they have billions of stock, of fuel. So this would not have disrupted anything necessarily. So there was no need to panic.
It was not the supply that was going to disrupt the market. It was the transportation. Normally, when there are wars, it's not as though they are not, digging up food. They are, but it's the transportation. And the U.S. themselves, they have a lot of reserves. So they were willing to release and all that. But again, you will see a slight, shock, because people hedge. People use crude oil prices to hedge. Even in this one, people had to bet. I heard somebody won about $10 billion overnight because he betted that there's no way the war will extend beyond 12 days. And it did happen. And so it's a very volatile market when it comes to speculation and all that. And we're excited and happy.
Haruna, are you convinced? I mean, a few days ago, I was telling myself, I pray we don't get back to where we were. It almost looks like we were starting to see some gains, some economic recovery in 2020 thereabouts, then COVID, Russia-Ukraine war, and then we went into that, tailspin, you know. So I was hoping that it doesn't get here again. What do you say to these assurances coming in about, no, I mean, we have sufficient fuel to last beyond 2 months?
Sweetie, for the respect I have for your viewers, you did ask an earlier question, which demanded a very concrete answer with respect to political financing. My viewpoint on that is that the laws that is governing our political environment has been outlawed. It has uplifted its usefulness. What we have to do is to amend the Political Parties Act to allow political parties to do business. When political parties are allowed to do businesses and own businesses, they will be able to earn certain kind of money that will be able to shore up their balance sheets and to be able to support political activities. We can't continue to be going around and looking at ways of which government should look for funding to support, because we have had this debate severally, and I think that we need to relook at the Political Parties Act, which will give power and authority to political parties to do lawful businesses that will be able to support the running of political parties in Ghana. On the platform of whether I agree or I believe, I cannot believe what the MPA boss is telling me, because I will dwell so much on the local discussion rather than going into the war activities. I have been somebody who has suffered from war before, so I don't like speaking about war. It's very terrifying.
Where?
When I was young in the north, we've had very unfortunate conflicts that has affected our education and our upbringing. So I don't like war, not even a minute. So I pray that God should prevail in these particular circumstances so that the war between these countries will stop, so that lives will be sustained, so that we can all contribute to the development of the world. If you listen to our brothers in the NDC with respect to what the MPA boss has said, when they took over power, you heard what the power minister had told us, the energy minister has told us, with that we have, was it 3 hours or is it, how many hours did he say?
I think 2 point something, yeah.
Yes, but eventually,
days.
Eventually that it came to pass and nothing had happened. There has been back and forth of that particular information before a house of record. So certainly these people are not ready to give us the right feed. If they tell you that there is enough fuel, it means that there is something wrong, so you should get ready. So plan yourself, because they told us that power will be there, and when they came, look at what is happening. With all the difficulties that we are going through, the MPP kept the power on. Businesses were striving, people were operating, and people were very confident in the lightning system of the state, even with all the difficulties. Again, there is an exposure on a very huge hypocrisy. When there was Ukraine and what have you, and we're talking about it, people did not believe. They went out way here and they were saying all manner of things. You could not comprehend them, because there is global crisis and the supply chain will be affected, whichever state it is. And we did said so that is affecting the income levels and the revenues that will come. So definitely this is something that we should all be worried about. But this is exposing the incoherence and inconsistencies in people's way of thinking and people's ways of analysis in terms when there is such global crisis.
You're saying
so for
because
me, you only trust the NDC at your own bearer. Once they say there's enough fuel, it means that there's a problem with the fuel. So whoever has a car, fill your tank. If you have, buy some reserve and put it down, because he's indirectly telling you that there's a problem ahead.
What you're doing may fall under, instigating unnecessary crisis.
You see,
because this is an official statement, an authority figure.
Parliament.
Yes. And you are saying that because they told us that there was shortage of fuel and they were able to manage it so that we didn't feel the impact of that shortage. And so many other things that they've said that maybe they steered well so we didn't feel the impact of it. That's giving you reason to doubt the statement that they're making right now.
The same ministers, his minister, when he talked about the less hours of power and the inconsistency in there, was the same parliament. The inconsistency in the report is the same parliament. So for me, I cannot believe, if I see an NDC man gives a trafficator on the left, please, I will go on the right, because I believe that he will crush me. I have to make sure, I have to be very careful with the kind of information I take from them. It is about being consistent and to be trusted. Trust is very key. And that is why I gave an example some time ago, that if you throw a child up and the child smiles whilst coming down, it's a trust. If the child doesn't trust that you hold him or her, the child will start crying. So if the NDC will be able to win our trust, to let us trust whatever they say, then they must walk the talk.
Wanda, looks like they've lost trust in your administration's official statement.
Their own supporters have lost trust.
And they're saying trust once broken is really difficult to rebuild.
We have.
So how are you going to rebuild trust, if not for the entire Ghanaian population, at least for Haruna, so that next time he hears any official statement from your administration, he can believe you?
We have come to that position at the NPP because they've lost trust in themselves. Their supporters have lost trust in them also. They want to vent some of this spleen on.
Oh, but he's saying he's lost trust in you. Why are you turning it around on him?
What is there to trust in the
But he gave you a valid point. We were told, I think on 2 different occasions, we were told about shortage of fuel. Yet we didn't feel the impact of it.
Nobody told you about shortage of fuel. What we said was that we didn't have enough reserves. How is that shortage of fuel?
No, fuel to power thermal plants. I'm talking about energy, electricity.
And I'm saying that we didn't have enough to do it.
But that's what they said.
Was the power off? Did the light go off?
But that's what he's saying.
Now, you remember when we
lost
took
my
off,
five TV sets.
The reason for which power outages happen is not only because of lack of fuel. We have to make that point.
Yes.
There are many reasons. In fact, illegal connection can even be the reason for which your power can go off. So don't sit in the studio and say that because your power went off, then there was fuel shortage. Do you know what fuel shortage means? That the whole plant is shut down. That is producing about 1,000 kilowatts of power or 500 kilowatts of power is shut down.
That can also be semantic. Fuel shortage can also mean we don't have money to buy the fuel.
That's not what the minister communicated. Okay. What the minister said was that we do not have enough reserve, and that the reserve we have was only available to last us a few hours. And that is one of the reasons why they had to go and do an emergency arrangement with Nigeria. You remember the president has to leave the country for that. You remember it was the reason why we appointed finance, energy, and roads as quickly as possible, so that these things are taken care of. In fact, the president has to make a special request to Parliament to fast-track their vetting so that they can get to work quickly. Yeah. So when you sit in studio and you say this, it's as though nobody else is listening. You are not the only one in this country. The NPP is not the only one. In fact, they cannot even be the standard by which this country is measured. If it is the NPP that is the standard, then we have failed. The inflation should be in 54% again. Then we should be doing exchange rates, dollar to cedi at 17 Ghana cedis, 18 Ghana cedis again. We are not going to go there. They are not the standard in government. They have proven that in government, they were very, very clueless about this economy. So much ado about nothing. You can rant all you can. The law is the law.
Okay. One last story from me, and I'll come to you, gentlemen. UHONU cannot afford to disappoint. Some of the major problems that have bedeviled the Ghana Police Service have been patronage, favoritism, and political interference. I think this is a thought piece, opinion piece, about the IGP who cannot disappoint. So let me find one last story here. And there was a story about the sports minister. Yeah, we'll get into it. About, here we go. So Ghana to integrate yoga into school sports. And that is the Minister of Youth and Sports, Kofi Adams. And he's announced plans to collaborate with the Ghana Education Service to introduce yoga as a formal component of extracurricular and sports activities in schools across the country. I think this is good news. I think that because I'm familiar with yoga, I know that it's actually going to help these students. Quick thoughts on this, and then we'll get into the Ghanaian Times.
While I agree with the minister, I think that they should add other commercially viable sports like swimming. Fantastic idea. Beyond even the yoga being an exercise.
Swimming is actually part of curriculum for some private schools already.
Yeah, so, but he's talking about the public schools.
Yeah,
so
you're making it.
Get into it. Table tennis, get back into it. Long tennis, get back to badminton, get back into it. So I think that, yes, we can have a more holistic approach to some of these things, because not everybody will prefer yoga. I may not like it. You may not like it. Another may like it. Somebody else's skill may be in swimming or in badminton or in tennis and all that. So let's find a way, like we used to have in the past, where every secondary school had their own farms and all that. We can still do this in the micro level, all the schools having some of these little facilities in order to help the young people to develop. Because there are many talents out there that are wasting, only because we have made it structure that when you go to school, then you have to go to university, and that is it. No skill attached, no other use of our other extracurricular life and all that. So indeed, I support it, but I think the minister should expand it and include swimming. And I'm very passionate about that.
To that, I say it's not every sports activity that has to be commercially viable. Yoga, for example, is for you. At that level, we are talking about child development. You're talking about how you can meditate, how you can breathe deeply into your, various parts of your joints and all.
Without money.
It will help you learn. It will help you.
All that without money. So give them a skill that will give them.
Well, we have the other ones that will bring you money. This one is for you.
You know how
that's
much
what
the tennis world record holders are making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haruna.
For me, yoga is one thing that I never liked even when I was in India. Every morning, and there were exercise times that I had never participated in doing of yoga for the period that I've stayed there in school. So for me, I think that the minister can recommend, because there are people who will be interested to go through, and I think that exercises in schools, even with sports activities, are demand-driven. People who have the talent and skill will opt to go in for those parts. I can remember my daughter telling me that she wants to throw shot puts. And then I told her that she should look at it very carefully. If she thinks that that is an activity that she has to do, then why not? She can go ahead, but she must not compromise her studies with those particular sporting activities. I think that the minister should be looking at avenues of which we need to build talent that will lead to award-winning medals. Because that is what will make a nation, the number of medals that you win and what have you. So we must try as much as possible to build that from the base. And the minister should be focusing on identifying talent and be able to focus on certain, even if we have to niche on certain activities, that we need to be able to let the entire world know, to showcase the Ghanaian sporting activity, so that at least we can also work out to come back on the football scale, because Ghana has always been known on the football scale. Anywhere you go, when you mention Ghana, they say Abede Pele. Those are the things they identify you with. Let's continue to build on those particular successes and add certain talent that will also propel Ghana on a larger scale.
It's good both of you are agreeing on one thing this morning, but let me quote something that's let me quote something that the sports minister said. He said, yoga has existed for more than 5,000 years, and its enduring relevance and transformative power have helped cure many non-communicable diseases. I think it just buttressed my point that it is not about something commercially viable. It's about you training or ensuring that these students are, well and whole. Yoga sounds fancy. We're talking about stretching. That's it. It's just about stretching your arms and your legs.
We agree with you.
Okay.
We are only saying that there are other sporting activities.
Not everyone is sporty. Not everyone is sport oriented.
But that's why we said there are other exercise activities. Somebody plays football, another plays volleyball, another plays badminton.
But everyone can stretch.
Say that again.
Everyone can stretch.
I mean, my exercise is driving.
Driving is not an exercise.
That's my exercise.
How?
Oh, yeah, when I'm driving, my hands, I don't drive an automatic car. I drive a manual car. So I use it.
But after a while, your muscle memory kicks in. You're not actually engaged in what you're doing. It's just natural. That's not exercising.
Yeah, when I do and go, at least I also give my body a rest. I wake up. And then, so for me, I used to do football, but that's my.
Both of you sound like you're not very flexible. Let's get into the Ghanaian times newspaper. Let's get into. No, you're not flexible. You can't stretch. Ghanaian times, please.
I don't know the flexibility. I think maybe it is a well-intended description because once a student leader, flexibility is very important.
Anyway, who has the Ghanaian Times? I want us to get into that paper now. Okay. Yes. Oh, you don't want to do it? Okay, Wanda, go ahead.
I should read it.
Yeah, stories on the front page, and then you pick one or two interesting ones, and then we discuss.
Oh, okay. The Ghanaian Times, we have 1 billion to retool the security agencies, President Mahama announces. And this can be seen on page 12 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Government earmarks, okay. Government, 1 billion to retool security agencies. The government has earmarked 1 billion to retool the security agencies to enhance their operational efficiency. President Mahama has said the security services, President Mahama noted, has a mandate to protect the citizenry, but could only do so with the right tools.
Yeah. What do you say to this? I think
for
our security agencies are underfunded, and this 1 billion will do a lot to revive their operations in ways that they were, they fell short because they didn't have adequate funds.
I think that the security agencies funding is an ending funding because day in, day out, security issues comes up and you need to retool the security services. Not long ago, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has retooled the security services. Every corner that you see them having the motorbikes, the visibility, the number of personnel that has been recruited. You also check we had to procure some helicopters, other vessels, and also be able to install over 10,000 security cameras. And the number of vehicles and armored cars that has been procured for them, some of them are not very good for discussions on public platforms because these are security matters. I think that every government needs to retool the security because we are always at risk because of these insurgents and other people who are very much interested in destabilizing the peace of Ghana from the other borders. I think that it is a very good call if the president will actually walk that particular talk. Okay,
you don't think it's too much money, 1 billion?
No, it's not. Okay. Security is very, very, very good for us. Okay. I think that our security is very paramount. We are here talking because we are alive, and our security agencies are there also working because they have the tools. What is wrong providing them with additional tools to be able to perform their duties and be able to minimize crime or even just take it away completely? I think that I must say kudos to our security services who have almost engaged in getting our safety very first. In the night you go, you see the checkpoints and all that. It is for our sake, and they cannot do that without the tools. Sometimes you'll be driving in the night, it will be raining, and you see the security, the police, some of them will not even have raincoats. You see that there's no even a shed for them. Sometimes you get very pity and you have nothing to do. So if we have such resources to be able to retool and get them guided. Some of them are used pickups. When they put them inside, you see the way they sit. Even though we have given them so much pickups, they still need so many to be able to.
You mentioned that former President Akufo-Addo did some retooling himself.
Yes. So
how would you assess what the gains that this current, I mean, it may be just 6 months or so, but how, since you say you're a security person, how would you assess the add-ons from this administration?
I'm not a security person, but I enjoy.
You said something.
Yes, I'm not a security person. I have my field of study, but I think that for security matters, it's very minimal to be discussed on platform because it also provide people the needed or the information to be able to attack on. But I think that this must be done. There are a lot of things that the security agencies need. Not only the police, we have the immigration, army, navy, all of them, they need to be retooled. When you go closer to them, you would get to appreciate the fact that they are doing their best, but they need the right equipment to be able to perform their functions.
Wanda, he says, good call. It's not too much money because it's very important.
Yeah, I mean, the security apparatus, in fact, watching all the few chaos around the world, last night I was having a discussion with my brother and I said, so does Ghana have capacity? I didn't want to discuss it further because you see, in the global world where there are a lot of chaos, a lot of attempts to overturn and overthrow and all to cause all kinds of disruptions in economies, a country needs to be prepared. And this preparation is not pickups. I'm not talking about what he said. It's not provision of cars. It's not, it goes beyond. Even the intelligence, the capacity to pick up intelligence ahead of time You know, the U.S. went into Iran and did an operation, and nobody knew about it until they themselves announced it, that this is what we have done. And they did it at a time, you know, that's
midnight.
Yeah, for me, those are the things that intrigues me, that the country can plan and execute an agenda and it has not leaked. Nobody has talked about it until the president himself talked about it. Do we have those systems? Are we able to foresee threats to our sovereignty, you know, from either neighbors or from any aggressor or whatever of the sort? Can we? Do we have that system? I know that we have a good naval base. We have some U.S. command in our waters. I know that we also have the battalion. We have the Burma camps and a few of our armories and all that in Ho, in whatever, in Accra and all the others. But the question is it just about Busha, or it goes beyond the Busha? You know, so for me, when we talk about retooling, I'm looking at sophistication. I'm looking at the preparedness of the country, even disaster preparedness. I saw in Israel, few hours after some of the shells have landed in Israel, the rescue team was on site and they were clearing, and as if nothing has happened. We had some time ago at Shimata Mall, may the souls of the people who lost their lives rest in peace. And it took us days. We had a disaster at a circle. It took us days to clear the place. But these guys, things happen after a few hours. The whole place is ground zero. Everything is cleared. If lives that can be lost can be saved, are quickly saved.
Right.
So we need those systems. And I'll be happy if our security agencies have the capacity to do some of these things.
Let's get into your paper, Wanda, the overseer.
Oh, conflicted endorsements. Same MMDCEs backed Brian. 237 went to Brian, 220 went to Kennedy, went to Baumia, and 190 went to Kennedy. In fact, this is not an issue to even discuss. I
asked Haruna earlier. He said he couldn't confirm whether it's the same.
In fact, per their current constitutional provision, these people don't have votes, right? Is that one?
They don't.
They don't have votes, so it's a non-starter.
But the opinion leaders, their influence.
Well, you are endorsing for nothing. It's just like somebody writing an opinion piece.
But there's that recommendation for them to be included in the conference, and that will be presented by way of motion for adoption or rejection.
Oh, okay.
At conference.
Okay.
At conference.
The National Delegates Conference.
So, no, it's okay. That's fine. That's it.
You're trying to do Daibo.
Oh no, I'm ready.
Yeah.
All the student leaders before, so we are very, very diabolical.
It's the ex-MMBC is endorsing Baumia lack political principle. I think this is a lecturer who spoke to the issue and said that it didn't hold water, especially the kind of people who were doing the Ghanaian has become very sophisticated. One time we were told that you should fear delegates. Why? Because their eyes are open. You cannot easily tell somebody again, go and vote to Asimesi and they go. They will have to be convinced that at least there's something in it for them. 1, 2, they see vision in the person. 3, the person is trustworthy. And 4, he can deliver. So if they don't see some of these things, endorsement in itself doesn't wash. In this country, I mean, the last election, we've had prophets, we've had opinion polls, we've had all kinds of whatever tell us that John Mahama cannot win the election. He won with the biggest margin. So for us, let good heads prevail. We wish the NPP well in their endeavor in recovery, if they will ever recover.
I see something on your paper, petition filed over bloated register proxy vote scheme on the GJA elections. I mean, you're not a journalist, but this concerns you. We are the fourth.
It's because I don't have information. So
that's fine. I just want to read out the details so that they can pick up the copy for themselves. NPA boss calls for stiffer penalties on unauthorized fuel stations. And they're saying TOR to resume operations by October 2025, according to the managing director. That's also another controversial one. But let's go into some more stories you may have. Haruna, you wanted to say something?
Yes, you know, he has raised a topic. You see, when you go back to the NDC, prior to the election of President Mahama as candidate, you saw the entire national party declaring for President Mahama. Most of people who even came out to contest, they call them names. Look at Kobnado for all that they have done to him and all that. Look at the kind of insecurity, the petitions that have gone. And then today, my brother will sit down here and be talking about people coming out to declare, who even in a proper sense now have not had the voting right now. So if it is declaration, have you seen us as national officers? I have always come on this platform. It is for us to maintain that dignity and that respect. so that we can provide the direction and ensure that we can get a unifying factor. Declarations will always happen, but this is not only aligned to any or one political party. So in this particular instance, they have chosen to do what they are doing. For me, if you ask me what my opinion is, it's wrong. It is wrong. You see, in one way or the other, sometimes you will see a teacher in a secondary school go to your university, and when they are doing, once the person becomes a student, the person becomes to behave in a certain manner. So I think that they are leaders in their own form. Let us all relook and make sure that at least we provide a certain sense of direction and hope for everybody. Those public declarations must stop.
So
I think that you can exercise your right in any form. We have a secret ballot system. When you have the right to vote, go and cast your vote. I know the person I'm going to vote.
Okay.
But I must exercise that. Because you are a leader, you must restrain yourself to provide direction so that you can be set as a unifying factor.
So now help me understand the intention or the objective behind that recommendation to bring in the MMDCs, the recommendation that you're going to present to your delegates conference, whether or not they should be brought into the fold.
Yeah, there was a recommendation for expansion of the college.
Okay.
And then the committee says that we are going to do it progressively to get to a point that where we will have one man, one vote. In that instance, every card-bearing member of the party will vote. So we are taking the necessary steps to get there. But for the meantime, we are going to have a very minimal increase in the pool, in the delegate system. So that is why MMDCs have been drafted in, former MMDCs have been drafted in, former constituency, regional, national, for national executives, that former has always been part. So constituency and region has also been drafted in, former ministers who are card-bearing members. So in all these instances, there can be an MMDC who has served under us. There can be an executive who have served under us. There can be a former MP who have served under us. But that particular person has decided to forfeit his or her membership. So it is those persons in good standing that will be allowed to participate so that we can give that facelift in terms of increasing the number of the delegate system so that at least it will be able to reduce that constant report from the media of monetization, what have you. So this is a minimal, it's a step. We have the intention to have a wider one. There are other programs that are there or expansion programs that are there, but this is the first step that we have to take, and all this will be tabled before conference. Conference will get to adopt them by way of motion.
Okay. Wanda, you don't get to respond to this, please. No, let's move on to.
I'm not responding. I'm just happy that they are finally copying what we have been doing all this while. The NDC has always had an expanded, version of who elect our flag bearer and all this. MMDCs and the NDC always vote. Former appointees always vote. Former ministers always vote. Then we've been doing this for years.
Okay.
So, I've just been told. I've expanded even more than
I've just been told that
we have expanded more than you before and came back.
There's a story I want to.
You're giving,
Call to resume operations by October 2025. I'm very excited for this.
What happened to their $517 or $518 million debt?
So
how are they going to?
When the MD met Parliament, is that he was discussing with them to find ways either to restructure the debt or if government can, give a sovereign guarantee to offset it or whatever of the sort, they can try and get back on course. So there are schemes and works in place in order to shelve the debt while they work and then maybe use proceeds to pay up the debt and all that. It's been building up for years, and I think that TOR is one of the strategic points of this country that can give us a turnaround. If it's done well, we can recruit what's the name? We can actually refine our own crude.
Yeah, because right now the system is more imports-driven than exports.
Yeah, the ones that are.
Do you really think we have the capacity to tip the scales in that way?
You never have
that
capacity
if TOR resumes, they can actually reduce our dependency on imports when it comes to refined crude.
Not an entirety. I know they do about 45%. If the capacity can do 45% of our entire total consumption.
My attention has been drawn to a child being abused, someone an elders in a particular village have hanged a child and okay, so that's what you're seeing on your screen right now. What could this child have possibly done? Yes, in Ghana, we are just catching wind of this, and we need to condemn this. We'll bring you more details on this, but I don't know what a child could do that warrants or merits such punishment from elders. It doesn't look like elders. The guy lashing him even looks like a child himself. You know, and so what are the elderly people in the community who are looking on for this abuse to happen?
This is cruel. This is cruel. And the Ghana police should quickly...
this animalistic.
Punish
he's naked.
Doesn't deserve to be...
I don't think that those that are involved in this act should sleep in their house today. The security agencies should get to it.
Let's make this call. Yeah.
I don't think that. IGP Yohonu, if wherever you are or any security officer who is watching, please let's take note. This place should be clearly identified, and I think that this person should be arrested quickly. I don't think that these people should be able to sleep in there.
All of them, those looking on, those laughing, the one in the white shirt laughing. Please pick them up and let them face justice.
This is very, very barbaric.
This guy is very insane. He should be picked up now and dealt with properly. If they can't deal with it, they should call me. I can fix him.
Yeah? Okay.
They can fix him.
Okay, so we are all condemning this.
Get Mustafa Bandi.
Yes.
Fix him.
This is unfortunate. I mean, the African mentality.
And
what is it?
Where's the mother? Where are the elders there? Where?
But the mother may not even be privy to what is happening. So I think that we should be looking for the culprit, not even the mother. I think that
I'm sure
this is very unfortunate.
Listen, the Africans' understanding of pain and how they think they can use it to reorient children, for the life of me, I can never understand, you know? But this is where we are.
For me, Cain has never corrected me.
Yeah. We used to say Odeshi. I mean...
and then they tried to use the cane. I stopped. Because for me, cane cannot reform me. So it's better you look for a different way of getting people reformed. A look alone can also reform. But excessive caning, those things cannot. Or you use it to threaten. No, it doesn't show off. I think that we need to change.
Anyway, Haruna, you have the final say, and I think it's on a tour they're setting to operationalize.
He chose his topic, and I still want to remind your producers. I want the 2024 budget, and I want the 2025 budget. I want your producers should go to Appendix 4A, MMDA's expenditure allocations for the two governments. I want to state that point clearly. I don't sit here and peddle false figures. I want to be properly situated.
Okay, we will situate it for you.
Yes. And I actually want to get it done before I leave here.
The show is over, unfortunately. Oh, it's coming up?
But if the show is over, then...
I'm told they're working on it.
No,
unless I misheard you.
Yes.
Oh, they're not. Okay.
Because if you go, Office of Government Machinery for 2024 is 326 million. 907,847. Office of Government Machinery.
For 2024.
For 2024. For Office of Government Machinery and the NDC for 2025 is 2 billion.
But you realize that this is just a budget, right? They haven't expended. They haven't expended.
It's the same budget they were using against us.
Even beyond that,
it is the same
budget. The budget of Ministry of Information has been attached to Office of Government Machinery. Felix Fosukochi has explained this over and over.
But the ministers has always been part.
Which ministers?
Ministers. At this Office of Government. Are they not Article 71 office holders?
Oh, don't do this. Don't do
Office of Government Machinery.
Don't do this.
I really wish we could stay on this much longer.
No.
But you have your facts and you have said
I have my facts.
So you are saying the difference.
And I want to give the goods and services, capex, and those things. I'm not reading. These are facts. That's why I always want.
Over 326 million. Haruna, okay. So thank you for joining us this morning for News Review. Those who joined us, Haruna.
Thank you so much.
Mohammed is Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, and Wanda Madilo is from the NDC Communications Directorate. And before we go, I want to send out this dedication to Priscilla Momo Ejay. Today is your birthday, coming from Isaac Kofi Ejay and Loretta from the back room. They say happy birthday and may God bless you abundantly. So that is Isaac Kofi Ejay's wife. I don't know if it lies in my mouth to say that, but congratulations. Are you looking? Yes, he is. He'll be. Yes. Oh God. So, are you looking to do things differently, to level up your skills and get ahead in this challenging job market? Statistics show that it's tough out here for university graduates, with only a few landing jobs immediately after school. I hope their microphones are off. Doing things differently is what the Design and Technology Institute is all about. DTI offers programs ranging from precision welding, fabrication, design innovation, and so many more, including photography and entrepreneurship. Our programs are internationally recognized by the American Welding Society, Pearson, BTEC, and CTVET, so you can shine here in Ghana or anywhere else in the world. If you're ready to do things differently and chart your path, check out DTI. Visit dtiafrica.com for admissions or call 054-169-3534 for more information. And thank you for the news review segment. Coming up next is our big stories. You want to stay with us. Wanda and Haruna, thank you so much. I wish you the very best. All the best to your two wives.
Somebody was telling me that you go on TV.